Hey guys, so today we're going to be talking about hooks. A lot of you know that hooks are essentially like the first thing you want to master when it comes to e-commerce or like just copywriting in general. You want to make sure that you're really good at grabbing attention because guess what? If you can't grab attention, well, people aren't going to read your copy, so not going to be able to do the sale. So there are three really important fundamentals that come to hook, and on the first principles breakdown, you need to understand like what hooks are for. So hooks usually do one of the three things. The main one is just grabbing attention, right? If you if you don't operate from this premise, then um, you know, you're just gonna be doing like shooting shots in the dark, and you're not gonna really be able to, uh, if you're operating from a place where you don't understand exactly like what you're doing, then you're kind of just doing things randomly. So that is like the main thing is just capturing attention, but it's just not any kind of attention because you can have like some sort of like weird thing like visually you could perhaps like show something like absolutely shocking like I don't know, just some person like pooping on the on the ground or something. That would be sure to grab attention. But you need to make sure, like in direct response or in copy in general, that you're grabbing the right attention, right? A. So it doesn't matter if you're like if you would have a 70% hook rate, if out of like those 70% of people, like maybe only like one is genuinely like interested in your product, right? So if you're not able to capture the right attention, then you're just bringing in people into your ads or into your copy that really aren't interested in what you're selling. Like they were like mainly just interested, like if it was some sort of like entertainment hook, they were just interested in like kind of just frying your brains. But if, you know, for example, you have a hook that grabs attention, but then talks about something relevant for those people, then you would be capturing the right attention. And then, the right person would be watching the video and the copy would resonate a lot with them. And then, like, it would be easier to have a sale, right? So you need to grab attention. You need to grab the right attention. So just filtering your audience. You don't want to bring in people, curious people. Those are bad leads. And I was gonna say something else, but also, yeah. So you just kind of like set the expectation, and this also kind of like ties back to like the right audience, right? So if you can have a really good hook, like it really captures your attention, but then if you don't set some sort of expectation or you don't like open some sort of loop that keeps people interested in watching, then it kind of like you kind of just drop the ball in there, right? So hooks need to be able to set the expectation and slash like open a loop as well, because that is then like as you build like through the lead and as you build through the belief shifts, like if you set the right expectation and then you talk to that expectation, so that to that big idea, then the copy is just going to hit like really hard, and you're just guaranteed to almost like have a sale. So for example, if in your hook you promise to solve like back pain, so we're only talking about like we're targeting the right audience, so people like suffering with back pain, and we have some sort of like interesting hook about back pain, perhaps like offering some sort of insight, like I don't know, when you sleep this way, like your C2 and your C3 like kind of get fucked up. So like you enter right at the mechanism. It's really interesting, both visually and like intellectually for this, and like emotionally compelling as well for this viewer. So they're just kind of like enticed to watch the video because it grabbed their attention, and it's also just filtering the right people, because people not dealing with back pain probably like wouldn't um, watch this, right? And it also like sets the expectation because it's promising to, I don't know, offer some kind of education or insight to the viewer about back pain in particular, right? So yeah, if we had like some sort of thing about back pain, then capturing attention, right attention, and then like open some sort of expectation slash loop. And this can be broken down fundamentally to three elements that I've learned like from my mentor Matthew Volquin, which is this funny looking formula. So B, C, D, and there's like an I as well, which is like really this is the secret formula too. make cash for your clients. But yeah, so this is like kind of the formula that you want to like. You don't want to stick too much to it. You don't want to like be robotic. Like I have to have the B and C and D like all included. This is just stuff like you kind of like continuously try to weave more and more of these elements into your hooks naturally, obviously, and like over time you'll pick up the intuition to say, okay, like you look at a hook that you think you could have done better, and you say like maybe it's missing a bit of like B, maybe it's missing a little bit of C, maybe this hook is really strong in B, but then it's missing C. So what is this whole like kind of like charade about B, C, D, and I, right? So this essentially stands up for benefit, curiosity, and drama. Like drama, right? The I'm gonna keep it as a secret because it's an open loop. But yeah, so like basically, like the question you kind of have to answer for like each of these elements is for the benefit. You want to ask yourself like, what's in it for me, right? What sort of benefit is it there for your audience, right? So you need to know what audience you're working with, and there's likely going to be a benefit that they want, like it's top of their mind. For example, benefit for back pain sufferers is just they just want relief from back pain, right? So you just really need to answer the question like, what's in it for me, like for your specific audience. And if you understand your audience, you know what they want, what are their desires. You can watch the previous video too, like kind of covering the desires. Then you can just kind of like understand like what is the benefit that they're looking for, what is their desire fundamentally, right? So what is in it for them? You have to always ask this question. Curiosity, it's basically like what happened, like what the hell happened here, or like what is it? What happened is more, actually, I just kind of switched them up, but like, what is it, right? If your hook is kind of like, it just kind of like reveals everything, like then, there's no element of curiosity. Like, curiosity is usually like leveraging a cognitive bias in the human brain. So we have this cognitive closure bias, which is like, we want to have the full picture. We can't, like, we need to, like, if there's any gap of information, like our brains just like to fill it, right? If I were to put like, I don't know, uh like four stripes, I don't know, like as a drawing, and then I just kind of like okay, hold on, like if I were to put like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like you would kind of look at this, your brain would like, brother, I just want to like, bro, I just want to put the line in here. So your brain kind of has this tendency where it does not like to have these gaps like this, right? So it wants to fill in the picture and then like, aha, like yes, now looks better. So this is kind of like the cognitive closure, and it's like, and it's what keeps people interested. It's what keeps people watching, right? It doesn't matter how strong of a benefit you promise. If you don't like have some sort of element of curiosity, then people don't have reason to watch. Like it doesn't open a loop, and people can just like dip straight, like oh whatever, like screw this guy. And like as you know, like if people don't watch your ad, then you're not gonna get sales, because like the sales happens when you shift people's beliefs and you also like present a really strong offer like in front of them, right? So curiosity is basically like weaving these gaps into your copy. So for example, how would you do this? Like, I don't know, the Japanese secret to relieve back pain. So you have benefit, right? You're promising to relieve back pain, but then you have like the Japanese secret. Like, what the hell is this? Like, what is this, right? It's the question you're asking, like, what is the Japanese secret? I want to know. But if you were to tell in the hook, like, the Japanese secret for like to relieve back pain is just this plant and you have to take it every day, then like people don't have like a fucking reason to watch, right? You kind of just revealed everything, and like people can just dip and say, okay, like I'll just kind of buy this flower on my own, and yeah, we'll see. Like I'll get the pain relief, right? So it doesn't open a loop. So it's really important that every single time in your hooks, you need to certify that you have at least a benefit and like some sort of element of curiosity or drama, which I will get in a little bit. So drama is pretty similar to curiosity, except it's more like it's tapping into a more human element of like caveman kind of it's tapping into a caveman instinct, right? So it's the question for what happened is for drama is what happened, like what the hell happened, right? If I told you, I don't know, this celebrity just slapped like another celebrity, you would be like, holy crap, what the fuck just happened in here, right? I want to know. Like that is kind of like the element of drama. You want to like understand the story. You want to understand like the picture of what happened. And this kind of like taps into more like kind of gossip stuff. So like news and celebrity, like I don't know, just this bomb just I don't know, just like for sensational news, like this bomb just kind of like killed like 800 people. It would be holy crap, like what the hell happened here? I want to know like what like how did the bomb blow up? Um like how did it go, like why did it happen, like et cetera, et cetera. So you just want to fill out these gaps in your head. So it's pretty similar to curiosity, except this is more applied to like stories and just like perhaps the gossip is an example, but like drama is like more about storytelling and stuff. So if I were to say, for example, there's a really good book that I just read, which is Shackleton's Voyage to the Antarctic, and the story opens with the guys like just in the middle of the chaos, like the ship is wrecked, like the ship is sinking, it's being crushed by ice. And then you're just there like, holy crap, like it immediately grabs your attention, like it's visceral. And like it throws you right under the bus, right into the middle of the story. And then, you know, so it puts you in the most tension part possible. But then it kind of just begins like the most intense moment starts, and without like telling you what happened later, they just kind of like start the story. So in 1980, like blah 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 blah, like XYZ, and then the story just kind of begins. So that is one way to grab the attention. It's just like drama as well, right? Like just by reading that part, you kind of like you have this emotion like going around the story, and you want to find out like how the hell did the ship get into that situation, right? How the hell, like what the hell happened later, right? Did the guy survive? Did who died? Like um how did they get there, etc., etc. So that opens the loop for you to keep watching, and that is what consists of the element of drama. So whenever you're doing copy, especially meta ads, you want to keep in mind really like usually benefit like either one of these two. You can also have both, like curiosity and drama. And the other element later is the I. What is the what is the I? Before we get into that, you have to really understand that this is mainly like the fundamentals. If you nail this, I'm guaranteed like your hooks are gonna be a lot better. So one example for this, I just saw a really recent ad in the UTI market, so for like females. It was like the ad was literally just like, I can't do oral anymore. I don't like oral or something like that. And it's like that is like the first. It was a native image ad, and that was like the first ad, and that is drama. Like what the hell happened? Like why is she saying this? And like yada yada yada. So people in this market are kind of like just struggling with like UTIs, and basically just kind of like smells bad down there. So like it immediately like captures the right audience's attention, because like women struggling with UTIs, like this is kind of like their biggest fear. So like if they're sexually active, if they're like always going out on dates, and like they kind of have like an active life, then they kind of like this is like a big fear that it's tapping into. Like I don't do oral, like it's embarrassing. They don't want to face the situation. So it kind of just it kind of just makes you wonder like, okay, what happened here? Like why is she saying this? Like, and then like the story kind of just begins, yada yada yada. And then because these are kind of the elements that keep people watching. So it's the benefit, right? It's probably like it doesn't have much of a benefit. It doesn't promise like, hey, fix your UTI and yada yada. It's not saying that, but like it's subconsciously applying it, right? You don't need to, for every single one of these elements, you don't need to be robotic. You don't need to be, okay, I need curiosity, then I need drama, then I need benefit. And like you don't need to like tick the boxes because sometimes you can have a hook that's just purely drama and like it's like subtly implying the benefit. Like whenever you have one of these stories, like you just kind of want to see what happened, and you have some sort of hope in your brain that like the narrator will have discovered some sort of solution. But like mainly with these elements, you just want to make sure that you're relating to the avatar you're targeting, and also you open a big loop, right? So this once again comes down to like just getting attention, getting the right attention, and then just setting the expectation of or opening some sort of loop. So these are like kind of the first principles breakdown of um, you know, just hooks in general. And there's also another element which is really important, which is the identifier. So this is once again another thing I learned from my mentor. And so you have like what is an identifier? It's just basically identifying your audience. So the easiest way to understand this, for example, I used to be a big Minecraft crackhead. So if you were to speak to me in a language that was like, um, I just built the best mob farm for XYZ. Like normal people wouldn't understand that because it's like a specific lingo like mob farm. Only people who play Minecraft understand that. Same with chess. Like you can say like this queen's gambit is I don't know guaranteed to crush your opponent. Like you're not specifically talking about chess. You're speaking their language because like the queen gambit is like an opening move that you can do in chess. And so um like you can kind of like you can kind of just speak to the right audience through only speaking their lingo because people who like people who are not in that niche probably wouldn't understand it would just kind of scroll past, which is exactly what we want because if people are not in our niche, if our product can't solve their problem or whatever, address whatever their desire is, then there is no point in getting those people because those people wouldn't buy, right? And it would just be kind of like a waste of spend targeting the wrong unqualified audience. So you have three types of identifiers. You have the shared experience identifier. You have the direct identifier, and then you have the lingo. So for the direct identifier, it's just basically calling out your audience. So you could say like something like, I don't know, entrepreneurs making seven figures on ecom. Like that is like your audience. Like if that were your audience you're serving, just doing a direct call out like attention all seven figure entrepreneurs. Like that is kind of like obviously it's like not um that's not a hook. That's just an example of like how you're calling out your audience. Right? For example, I don't know, moms of teenagers struggling with acne. That's kind of like what I forgot the brand's name, but like there's a brand targeting moms specifically who have like teenage kids struggling with acne, and guess what? Um yeah, Norse Balm. That's the brand, Norse Balm. So there sometimes like just do these call outs and they work, right? It's direct call out that you're directly calling out the audience you want. Shared experience identifier, it's like you have you're appealing to a certain desire, you're appealing to a certain fear, you're appealing to a certain, dream or even like pain point, right? So I don't know, like let's say you're talking to these seven figure entrepreneurs once again. Like one desire they have is just literally make more money, right? So you could say something like add an extra 50K in monthly recurring revenue to your business, right? That's a shared experience identifier for the specific, or like for your agency. Like add 50K of monthly recurring revenue to your agency without lifting a finger. Like that's kind of like one of the desires like these business owners, like these audience has, right? If you were working in the I don't know, just like just B2B niche in general, right? You're calling them out by their desire. If we were to go on this, the other example of the Norse Balm, like the moms with teenagers struggling with acne, one shared experience identifier would probably be, if we were talking about desire, like clear your son's acne in 1 week. So that is a desire they have. Like they want their sons to feel confident, like feel comfortable in their own skin. They want to be proud of themselves, right? That is a desire like these moms have. If we were talking about fear, it probably wouldn't like perform best in this market. I don't know, like you would need to test, but it would probably be something like you're just kind of like I don't know. You say some sort of I don't know, like I lost my date because she noticed my really big acne. Like I don't know, she called me out on my acne, and she just walked away. Like, and that is kind of like a fear they have, right? They, you know, the acne kind of really affects their self-image. They're really insecure about it, and they think like people don't like them because of like acne, and they're afraid it could ruin their chances of like finding a romantic partner, like their chances of like just being friends with people in general because of like their appearance, their facial appearance. And so that could probably be a way to tap into their fear. Um, or like pain point, like, are you tired of seeing that acne every single day in your teenage son's boy? Or are you tired? Or like if we were speaking about a dream, we could probably just, show them some sort of like really like clean faced like person and just show them like talking, um, just enjoying conversations with like a romantic partner. Like they're completely embothered, like which shows just you're confident, like you're secure in your own skin, you're in your own body, like you're not feeling insecure, constantly overthinking about your acne, right? So that is way to tap into the desires, fears, and pain points and dreams. So dream is like their future. So like fear and dream are like more future stuff. It's like the big vision. Like fear is ultimately what they're afraid is going to happen. Pain is what they're currently experiencing. Desire is what they're currently desiring, right? So they just want to get clear of the acne. Or pain, they're just dealing with the acne. They don't like it. Fear is like it's going to affect their relationships, yada yada. Dream is like just feeling confident in your own skin. Never have to worry about your own skin again, right? That is kind of like just examples to really help ingrain this into your mind. So that is a shared experience, is like probably the most common you're going to be using. So for example, for cat owners, like you could it's a brand I've been recently working with. There's a desire, like they just kind of don't like their cats chewing plastic. So we kind of just tap into that desire, and that there's obviously like a lot of other things that go into this, but the point of this is just to show like these identifiers working in place. So you're just calling out people whose cats like chew plastic, and we're capturing the right attention, because then the copy that we're going to be using, like with the belief shifts, like presenting the offer like to fix this problem, is going to be targeted towards them, right? And lastly, like you have the lingo. So usually you're trying to always incorporate these identifiers throughout your copy. It's really important in the hook, because it's going to really help filter out the right audience, so you're not just bringing in junk traffic. And so with the lingo, it's like you just really need to understand the kind of language your customer uses, or the your target avatar. So if it's chess players, you're probably gonna have to speak some nerdy shit about chess. If it's, I don't know, business owners, then you're probably gonna have to speak like business terms, like I don't know, um, MRR, like, or like for e-commerce, like brand owners, like increase spend, and a target ROAS, and target CAC, so customer acquisition cost, um, yada yada yada, like crush your NCCPA goals, blah blah blah. So you're just speaking like their language, the terms they're familiar with, and like what they use on their day-to-day basis, right? Because this is then gonna also resonate with the right audience, and it's like people who don't really understand their terms are just gonna like scroll past. They're not interested, right? So that is kind of the whole like breakdown. Oh my god, give me a second, because my computer is about to go. There we go. But yeah, like this should be like the full picture for you. So you just really want to make sure that you always have some sort of benefit implied, even if it's super subtle. Like even if, like for example, you can say like, this is the Japanese, for example, one of my recent ads that's really crushing it. It's just some sort of like, I'm a cat keeper in Japan. Like I run a sanctuary in Japan, and this is the secret trick we use to help our cats live past 25, right? Like all our cats here in this sanctuary live to past 25. In America, most don't make it past 12. Here is our secret. So that's, you see like how like cat parents have this kind of desire to help their cats live longer because they're considered like family. They want the best for their cats, and they also like the moments they share together. Like they don't want to feel lonely if they lose their cat. So you're promising the desire, right? The shared experience identifier, tapping into their desire to help the cat live a long life. And then you have the Japanese series. You have like this Japanese cat keeper authority, like really tapping into the curiosity. Like, here's our secret trick. You're not hinting it. And once again, like, remember, you're creating this gap in the viewer's mind. Oh shit, let me just show this. You're creating this gap in the viewer's mind, right? You're not like with the secret trick that this like Japanese cat keeper is using. Like, you don't know what the secret is. You want to know the secret to help your cat live a long, healthy life, which is the desire you have. So, in order to find out, you know, how to achieve the benefit you want, you have to keep watching the video because, like, you know, it's not like immediately. So you have to keep watching, and then you're going to be susceptible to the belief shifts needed in order for people to be ready to buy your product. And then, um, you're just basically on a right track. So you captured the right attention. So you captured attention. Like, you have this Japanese cat keeper who's like kind of talking to the cameras, like sharing their secrets. Right? You're talking about something relevant. You're capturing the right attention. So you're speaking to the right audience through these identifiers with through these benefits. So once again, what is their desire? They want their cats to live a long, healthy life. Like with curiosity, you're just, the secret trick, in Japan, they just really want to know this. And shared experience identifier is just basically tapping into their desire that is going to be able to filter the right audience, right? You're capturing the right attention, and then you set some sort of expectation, or you open a loop. Like, here is the secret trick to help our cats live past 25. So the open loop here is like the secret trick to help your cat live past 25. Like, what is the secret trick to help my cat live past 25? I want to find out. I have to keep watching. That is an open loop. It just creates this gap in the viewer's mind that they now have to find out. And the only way to find out is to either read, to keep reading, or to keep watching, right? So that is basically like the full, massive breakdown of like hooks. This is super detailed. You can probably just feed this into Claude and like ask it for a breakdown. But this is mainly like what I've been taught by my mentor, and it's greatly helped me with my hooks and also helping generate results for my clients. So hopefully you're going to be able to take this framework and always keep this in mind. Like, whenever you're doing hooks, you're always keeping in mind like the BCDI formula. So like, just always like make sure you're grounded back in first principles, and you're asking yourself, okay, is this hook like really appealing to some sort of benefit that my target audience wants? If not, then probably something you're going to have to work in. Is this pulling in curiosity? Like, is this making the viewer ask themselves like, what is it? Like, I have to find out, right? So benefit, like, what's in it for me? Like, if you don't give them a reason to care, which is through like benefits or desires, then they're not going to watch. If you're not tapping into curiosity, people are going to get bored, or like they're just not going to watch. There's no open loop, there's no cognitive closure, there's no like there's no cognitive closure bias that you're leveraging. So you don't have a gap. You're not they're just not going to watch. They don't have a gap, then there's nothing to fill. They're kind of fulfilled, so they can just keep scrolling, right? If there's no drama, similar curiosity, like, so this is more about like to stories. Like, what happened? Like, what the hell happened? Like, this celebrity just slapped another one in the face. Like you just want to know like the story behind like what happened, like what was the aftermath, etc., etc. And you need the identifier. So directed identifier, shared experience identifier, and the lingo identifier. So just the language they're speaking, right? And this is also really important because, especially in meta, you want to make sure you're targeting the right audience. Because if you're bringing in a big pool of people and like later in the copy, your copy is only speaking to like a smaller group of people, then it's gonna like just send the wrong signals to Meta. Like they're gonna, bring in like this whole chunk of people, right, that watch the video, and then only like a few, like your product only addresses the problem for a very few pool of people. Then, it's just kind of like you're gonna have a high hook rate. You could have a high hook rate, video average playtime, etc., etc. But then if people go and land into your landing page, maybe like these people, like there are some curious clickers, then you would have like a poor conversion rate. And a poor conversion rate just kind of like impacts your performance of your ad. So it's like there's some sort of formula which, ooh, that could be a good idea to dive deeper into next video, which kind of calculates like the quality of your ad, and then like if Meta like just pushes it at a lower customer acquisition cost, or it just kind of like punishes you because you're not converting, right? You have better competitors like converting, like picking up right better audiences. um so if Let me actually give a visual example. So like you could be picking up this whole pool of customers, and if only like this is the pool of like people your product actually uh, speaks to, then this ad is kind of like you kind of like did something wrong in the hook. Now this is kind of different for like unaware audiences, which you can go a lot more broad, right? And then have some sort of belief shifts, but still it's not going to look something ridiculous like this. So for example, if you had some sort of like, I don't know, visual hook of like person pooping, and then you try to sell something like about back pain, then you're just capturing the wrong attention, and then like it's just gonna seriously impact your performance. But whereas if you had like some sort of like hook, maybe it wasn't capturing like as much audience, right? But it's speaking to the right people, then like this would kind of be the pool that you're more likely going to be able to capture, right? So this essentially, like if you notice this difference, like it's essentially going to um, affect how much like the quality of your ad in general, right? So if this many people were able, so this was the hook and this was actually the people you're speaking to that your product resolves, like the ratio here is much smaller than over here. Like you're just going super broad, and like you're you're probably just gathering like curiosity clicks and like curious people, and people don't really want to buy your product, and there's this big gap, and this is usually what kind of like doesn't perform for these ads, right? You need to have a lot of skill to be able to pull this off, which is through very very subtle, really good belief shifting technique, which would essentially just be able to create desire of these people for um, this product, right? But yeah, but like if you were to do a hook that's more specifically for this person, and it's really strong both in terms of like benefit, like what's in it for them, curiosity, like like what is it, like they want to know what the thing is you're talking about the hook, or it has some sort of element of drama, like what happened, and you have the identifiers, then this like you're kind of like appealing to like the other people would just kind of like scroll past, and the people you actually want to sell to, they would keep around and watch. They would stay around and like keep watching, right? And then you would be able to do the belief shifts and like present your offer essentially. And then, you know, all these people would have bought your product. So the spend, let's actually paint this. So the spend like kind of just goes to, oh, I should paint this green. So like the spend kind of just goes to these people, like this whole people, whereas you would have to spend a shit ton with like these super broad ads, um, you know, just to um, kind of get to the same person, right? So here would be super a lot more directed. Here's like you're just you're just doing hooks for the sake of like capturing attention. You're not really dialing in this full formula, just appealing to the right audience, right? Capturing the right attention, right? capturing the right attention, and openly setting expectation, opening a loop for them. So yeah, I hope this really helps you in terms of just doing better hooks and making your clients more money. But yeah, that is mainly the full framework. And yeah, I guess I'll see you in the next video. I'm really excited to see what other stuff we can talk about. Even if you have any suggestions of like what you would like me to kind of tap onto, like just drop them in the comments below. And yeah, let's get it, guys. Peace.